Hey everyone, let's jump right into this explainer. So there is a massive gap in the design world today, right? It's the gap between simply knowing how to use design software and actually mastering the art of UI/UX design. Because let's be real, being able to operate a tool is fantastic, but having the foundational knowledge to create meaningful, intuitive, and stunning digital products, that is a completely different ballgame. Today, we're bridging that gap. We're going to break down the core curriculum of the Visual Design Mastery for UI/UX Professionals course. We'll unpack the exact principles, the psychology, and the practical applications you need to elevate your interfaces from amateur to absolutely professional. Let's dive right in.
Now, I want you to think about something. Have you ever spent hours meticulously designing a screen in Figma? You're lining up all your boxes, dialing in your text, and yet, it's 2 a.m., you're staring blankly at your monitor after endless pixel nudging, and you just feel like something is missing. It's an incredibly common frustration. You put in the work, but your interface simply lacks that polished, effortless look of the world-class products we use every single day. You know, the Spotifys, the Apples, or the Netflixes of the world. You know it's not quite right, but you just can't pinpoint exactly why. Well, if you've been stuck in that frustrating loop, let me assure you right now, you are absolutely not alone.
Okay, let's dive into this. Diagnosing the problem is the first step to actually fixing it. What you're experiencing are the classic symptoms of the missing polish. You might notice that your colors just feel, slightly off, like they lack a harmonious blend. Or maybe your typography looks inconsistent, making the screen honestly exhausting to read. You might see uneven spacing that makes the layout feel cluttered, or notice a complete lack of professional visual hierarchy, like when your cancel button accidentally screams way louder than your submit button. These are the specific visual pain points that beginners struggle with when they rely purely on guesswork instead of a structured design system.
And that brings us to a major trap that so many aspiring designers fall into. There is a fundamental difference between learning a tool like Figma and mastering visual design. A lot of beginners mistakenly believe that mastering design software is the exact same thing as having the foundational skills required to build intuitive interfaces. But here is the reality check. Figma is a fantastic hammer, but owning a hammer doesn't make you an architect. It's a powerful canvas, for sure, but it's not going to make design decisions for you. Knowing how to draw a rectangle doesn't teach you where that rectangle should go, or why. Creating visually appealing and user-friendly interfaces requires something much deeper, a strong, unshakable understanding of visual design itself.
So what does that actually mean? Well, visual design is the true foundation of every successful user interface because it perfectly combines aesthetics, usability, and psychology to create meaningful user experiences. It is absolutely not just about making things look pretty. True design mastery dictates how your users perceive information. It dictates how they navigate through your product, how they interact with your content, and ultimately how they feel about the digital experience you've crafted. When you deeply understand visual design, you are communicating clearly and delivering a demonstrably better user experience, rather than simply arranging elements randomly on a screen and hoping they look good.
To build that strong foundation, we need to master the essential building blocks used in literally every single professional interface out there. We're talking about mastering color theory and color psychology so you can generate effective palettes that evoke the exact right emotions. We'll utilize powerful frameworks like the 60-30-10 color rule, which just means 60% of your interface uses a dominant color, 30% a secondary color, and 10% a bold accent color. It practically guarantees perfect harmony every time. We also need to nail down typography fundamentals and font pairing techniques so your interfaces are visually consistent and highly readable. And we absolutely must understand space, white space, and visual hierarchy. These are the crucial tools that let you guide user attention seamlessly, build brand trust, and create designs that feel completely intuitive.
Now, what's really interesting about this slide is that true mastery requires crossing over from pure aesthetics into the realm of human cognition. Enter Gestalt Psychology. This is the psychological aspect of UI design that truly separates the amateurs from the seasoned professionals. Gestalt Psychology is the study of how people naturally organize and interpret visual information. Long before a user reads a single word on your screen, their brain is subconsciously grouping elements, finding patterns, and making sense of the layout. When you understand exactly how the human brain naturally processes visual data, you can design interfaces that feel absolutely effortless to use. Let's break down what those core Gestalt principles actually are when applied directly to UI. We have proximity, similarity, continuity, closure, figure and ground, and symmetry and order. Mastering these specific, targeted principles allows a designer to effortlessly guide user attention and massively improve visual communication. For example, by leveraging the principle of proximity, which is just placing related items closer together, you instantly tell the user those items belong to the same group. This clever psychological trick literally saves you from having to draw a dozen ugly boxes just to group things together. It's all about leveraging human psychology to solve practical design problems.
But the psychology doesn't stop at how we see things, it extends into how we act. Great interfaces are built on an authoritative understanding of human behavior, governed by crucial UI/UX laws like Hick's Law, Fitts Law, Jacob's Law, and Miller's Law. Every single designer should know these inside and out. For instance, Hick's Law tells you that giving users too many choices paralyzes them. It massively increases the time it takes to make a decision. Meanwhile, Miller's Law reminds us that the average person can only keep about 7 items in their working memory at once. By applying these specific laws, you ensure that the digital products you design are fundamentally easier to learn, radically simpler to navigate, and incredibly natural to use.
So how do we actually learn all of this effectively? Well, this is where standard education often falls short. Traditional courses typically rely on passive lectures, asking you to mindlessly copy existing screens, or leaning entirely on the rote memorization of design rules. That simply doesn't work in the real world. Contrast that with the dynamic approach of the Visual Design Mastery course. This method heavily focuses on AI-powered role-play scenarios that simulate actual intense workplace conversations with clients and managers. That is a massive, unique advantage for your career. It also uses in-depth, real-world case studies from tech giants like Airbnb and Amazon, combined with interactive knowledge checks. It's about deeply understanding the why behind every design decision, not just the what.
Let's move to and see how this builds into an active, transformational learning process. In this course, you don't just sit back and watch videos, you execute. Step 1, you comprehensively learn the fundamental visual concepts. Step 2, you analyze live interfaces from successful, real-world products. You'll deconstruct exactly how Airbnb builds trust with whitespace, or how Amazon uses visual hierarchy to drive massive sales conversions. Step 3, you complete highly practical design challenges, forcing you to critically think and solve problems on your own. And Step 4, you practice via that AI-powered roleplay, completely preparing you for the real-life communication and justification required in a professional, fast-paced environment. This exciting step-by-step journey is exactly how you transform theoretical concepts into practical, job-ready skills.
So the crucial point is really captured in this one idea. Make confident design decisions based on proven principles instead of guesswork. You want to reach a point where you never have to randomly nudge a button a few pixels to the left, crossing your fingers and hoping it looks better. You want to replace endless tweaking and self-doubt with intentional, highly calculated, psychology-backed design choices. When you truly understand the underlying principles of visual design and human behavior, you don't just design interfaces anymore. You engineer intuitive, seamless experiences with absolute certainty.
Ultimately, visual design is so much more than choosing beautiful fonts or attractive colors. It is about deeply understanding human perception, seamlessly influencing behavior, and thoughtfully crafting memorable digital experiences. If you are ready to finally move beyond merely operating design tools, the Visual Design Mastery for UI/UX Professionals course is your comprehensive roadmap to get there. So, I'll leave you with this. Are you going to keep nudging pixels at 2 a.m. hoping for the best, or are you ready to stop guessing and start designing with absolute confidence?